Much for staying for the statements. Those of you who've been watching will know that the prosecution case has now concluded. For the last half an hour of this afternoon, Ed Fitzgerald, Julian's QC, was on his feet. So to give you a report of what's been happening in the court this afternoon, first of all, I'm going to call on Kristinn, the editor-in-chief of WikiLeaks.
It was a very difficult afternoon in the courtroom, primarily because this was so absurd, because the lawyers for the United States were basically relitigating the case from the magistrate court, cherry-picking from the testimonies, taking it out of context, and to give you the gist of it, they were spending hours and hours trying to tear apart the testimony, the chief testimony of the psychiatrist who was Julian's witness in the magistrate court, attacking the integrity of a distinguished professor here in the United Kingdom who has decades of experience. It was depressing. It was depressing to hear constant references to the fact that Julian would not be a suicide risk because he would be able to resist the urge to commit a suicide. Again and again, all these references to that, it is not something you want to sit for hours and hours and listen to. And what is depressing was the fact that they were actually using Stella and the children as an argument that he would not commit suicide, because they said, well, the theory is if you have a family network, you will not commit suicide. But what happens if you have that network and you are confronted with the fact that you're going to be deprived of seeing your partner and your children for the rest of your life? I have children. I can put myself in that position. You can as well. That is absurd to maintain such a thing. But we heard all the very meager and empty arguments, the so-called assurances by the US lawyers. That was the end of it today. Tomorrow we will hear the testimony that will matter from Julian's lawyers, all the arguments that actually are so overwhelming, overriding, that it's impossible for the judges in this court to do anything but uphold the decision of Judge Baratzer in the magistrate court. All the illegality, the CIA plans to kidnap or kill Julian Assange, the key witness in the indictment that has recounted the testimony, that this legal case has no leg to stand on. And on top of that, what remains, of course, is the absurdity that a publisher and a journalist is on trial and facing 175 years in prison for doing his job as a journalist, exposing the truth.